dinking around with Eddie and Webby. Dinking around with Eddie and Webby tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Aw, yeah, we are back with a brand new episode of Dinking Around with Eddie and Webby. That guy right there is Eddie.
And that guy right there is Webby.
Yeah, I think that is me. Webby,
We need
not
to touch
Eddie.
the tips. Come on, do it. Yes, my friend. Webby, how the hell are you, man? It's good to see your face.
I'm doing great. I'm glad we are back. This is the first time in a long time that we're going live without a guest. Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy. You want to know what else is crazy? Is we decided to go live when the PPA Mesa event is going on, which means we expect to have like 2 people tuning in tonight. So that was pretty smart on our behalf, right?
Yeah, very, very smart. But that's all right. The hardcore fans are going to put us on one screen, PPA on the other screen. And if nobody at all tunes in, maybe we'll just at some point just start watching the PPA Mesa and just that'll take up the whole show, just us watching the event.
That's right. I'm excited for tonight. We're going to be able to shoot the shoot together. Did you see what I did there? Shoot.
I did.
Yeah. It's going to be fun. I hope you guys enjoy it. I know I do. And I just want to let you guys know that these episodes are partially made possible by our friends over at Volair Pickleball. Webby and I just recently started partnering with Volair. And I got to tell you, we've been working with them for just a little bit, but we've been playing with their paddles for a long time, long before we developed this partnership. If you guys want to get your hands on some of the best paddles in pickleball and some other great gear as well, go to Volair.com. Use coupon code PB for life. And Webby, what's that going to get you?
That is going to get you 10% off your order so you can get some of their great paddles. They have great bags as well, backpacks. I'm seriously, the best backpack I've ever had for pickleball is the Volair bag that I just got. I absolutely love it. And I think you will too. So use this code right here. You'll save 10% and help support Eddie and Webby.
Yes, we really appreciate it. Webby, it's just going to be you and I hanging out tonight. It's just going to be like when we're together the once, twice a year that we actually see each other in person, hanging out, having a beer together. So I think we should enjoy a beverage right now. What do you say?
I think that's a great idea. And I want to know what you are drinking. I feel like I always say what I'm drinking first tonight. I want to know what you're drinking first.
All right. Well, this has been in my fridge for a very long time. We actually bought this when we were up in West Branch, Michigan years ago. I'm talking probably like 5 or 6 years ago. I saw it on the shelves. I had to get it. And this is the Trooper by Iron Maiden.
Nice.
Which is brewed in Robinson's Brewery in Cheshire, England. I'm a fan of Iron Maiden. I like their music. I'm not going to lie. I actually listened to them a little bit earlier today when I was cleaning up the garage. And I don't know how good this is going to be. As I mentioned, I got this all the way in northern Michigan. It probably got warm and cold again a couple times. It's moved twice. Plus, it survived a whole car ride home from Michigan to Florida. So I don't know how good it's going to be, but that's what I'm going to be enjoying this evening. Do you like Iron Maiden? Are you a fan of their music at all?
I do. They are. Yeah. It is good to listen to get pumped up and stuff like that. So yeah, I dig it. I'm very interested to see what you think of that beer after all it's been through. It's had quite a journey.
Yeah, and it's got some chunks in it, so that's good. That means additional
Nice.
Fermentation happened in the can. That's exactly what you want with a lager, right?
The chunkier, the better, right?
So man, well, I hope this is good. But Webby, what are you going to be drinking tonight?
So tonight is a beer that I thought was perfectly fitting for this evening because we have a couple topics in mind. One of them is going to be your experience at Pickleball Slam 2. So I can't think of a better beer than one from Bell's Brewery known as Slam Ale, which I don't know. Nope, you're not going to be able to see it because I've got a green screen. You can't see the can, but I've got it poured right here. And I love this beer. It's so delicious. It's very strong, but very tasty. And I love it. Cheers, my friend.
Cheers. I'm a big fan of Hop Slam as well. Every time I go to Michigan or if I see it on tap anywhere, which sometimes I see it down here in Florida, I get my hands on one.
So good. So good. It's crazy because I think, what is it, like 10 or 11% or something like that?
Yeah. It'll catch up to you real fast.
Yeah, 10%. So very strong beer, but very smooth for how strong it is, and I love it. And I'm gonna try to sip on it nice and slow, so I don't get totally sloshed before this episode ends. But you never know; it might
Well,
happen.
we're going to be switching up our format a little bit. So this might be not the last time we're ever going to go live for this, but we're going to be considering a different format, maybe pre-recorded going forward. So get as sloshed as you want, man. We got to go out with a bang. Is the way I
Yeah,
look
got to
at
go
it.
out with a bang. I like it. I like it. But yeah, if you saw the posts we did earlier on Instagram, I did say if you want one last chance to interact with us during a live podcast, this very well might be our last live podcast for quite a while because we are switching up our format. But I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be very fun. I think you guys are all going to like it too. So stay tuned for that. Maybe we'll talk about the new format at the end of the episode. If not, then just stay tuned for it because it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think we should wait to release our first episode so you guys are all surprised at the same time what the new format's gonna be. Oh my god! But by the
I
way,
like it.
Webby, this beer it has not aged well. It has a little bit of like an apple juice kind of taste to it, which means it's oxidized some. I don't know if
Oh
you can
man.
see the chunks floating around. There,
Oh
but
yeah, I can. Oh
yeah.
man.
I don't. I'll
Uh,
probably be switching to my next beer here very shortly because this is not. This did not live. What's the word I'm looking for? It didn't age well.
yeah. And I'm pretty sure we heard you choking on some of those chunks just a few seconds ago. Is that what that was?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. You don't. I mean, chunky beers is not really like what. I don't know. It's not really what I look for. But anyway, you guys didn't tune in to hear about beers and stuff. You tuned in to listen to us talk about pickleball, didn't you? I'm talking to you at home, right?
Yep. You right there, and then all of you millions listening around the world. I know that's what you tuned in for.
That's right. And again, if you have a question or comment for Webby or I tonight, let us know. Again, we don't expect a big huge group to jump in simply because, well, PPA is live right now. And what would you rather watch? Us knuckleheads or PPA matches? Probably PPA, but who knows?
I would rather watch us, to be honest. No, just kidding. PPA has great stuff going on, but I'm excited because we have a couple really good topics to talk about tonight. Stuff that I think people will be interested in. It's some things that Eddie and I have been a part of recently, and very exciting things. And what do you think? What should we start with your topic or should we start with my topic?
I think we should start with yours. I think that's the most exciting one and the one that I'm most excited to talk about.
All right. Now, do you want to ask me questions about it, or should I just dive right in? This is kind of like a free-flowing kind of thing. I don't know what you prefer we do with this. What do you think?
Why don't you lay the foundation and then, because I actually do have some questions, because obviously you've been much closer to what we're going to talk about than I have. So why don't you go ahead and lay the foundation, tell everybody what we're talking about, and then I can jump in with some questions and stuff.
All right. So this was a brand new venture that Eddie and I decided to do. And what we decided to do is become team owners in the Detroit Pickleball League. It's something that it just got started. I think last year was the first time they ever attempted it. So it's still pretty new. I wasn't able to participate last year, and it looked like it was a lot of fun. So then this year, Eddie and I talked about it, and we were like, you know what? Let's go for it. Let's buy a team. And I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to commit to actually playing in it, but luckily I was able to clear my schedule, and I signed up as a player as well. The only thing I didn't like about that is because I was playing and a team owner, I had to draft myself first. So I feel like we kind of wasted our first draft pick by having me playing on the team. So that part I wasn't a huge fan of, but that's just how it was for anybody there. And most of the teams had owners that were playing on them, so it was fair because everybody had to abide by that rule. But I really wish I didn't have to pick myself for the first pick, because I would not have done that for sure. But
Yeah, no, I understand. And it makes sense, right? I mean, obviously, to keep it fair, if you're going to play on the team, you don't want to, because you're undraftable to other teams, it wouldn't be fair to, like, just pick yourself last. So I understand
Right.
why they made that rule. And,
Yeah.
I mean, Webby, at the end of the day, were there better players in the league than you? Probably, right? I mean, isn't that fair to say? But
yeah,
I definitely don't.
better than me. Yep.
Yeah, but I definitely don't think that this was something where we were like way below. I mean, like, you know,
No.
I ended up, I think that having you on the team, even if it wasn't our team, was a good choice. Maybe not a first round pick, but a very close second round pick. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would say like absolutely there were numerous players better than me in the league, but of the 40 players, I would definitely put myself in the top 20, maybe even top 15. So I do think I think I added value as a player to our team. And in case anybody isn't familiar with the format, the skill level range, you needed to be a 3.5 to a 4.4 level player. If you were above 4.4, they mostly went by duper. If you didn't have a duper, then they kind of had to go by word of mouth. Yeah, 3.5 to 4.4 was the skill range, and as you know, and as everybody tuning in knows, that's still a pretty big difference. A 3.5 and a 4.4 player, that's a big difference.
Yeah, you can get away with a lot at 3.5 that you can't get even at like 3.9. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah,
that
for sure.
once you cross that 4.0 threshold, it's tough. And I understand why the league picked that range, simply because there's probably just not enough players to fill like a 3 to 3.0 and like a 4 to 4.9 or something like that. So I
Yeah.
understand why it was picked that way, but I definitely saw in a lot of the highlights when there were some of the lower end players on the team, not even our team, on other teams as well, against some high level players, two very different styles of play, just two different strategies, and it was night and day difference. You know, see, the points become weird at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But I think for the most part, the overall matchups, like there was always at least one person on every team that you could tell was the dominant player of the team, and pretty much any game that involved that player was probably going to be a victory for them unless you did a good job at isolating the other person if they weren't as good and stuff like that. But for the most part, I felt like the whole entire league was very evenly balanced. The matchups, a lot of them came down to the wire. If you watched any of the videos that I posted from the highlights, like there were a lot of very close battles, and it was just it worked out really well. And there was some good high level play. Like you said, some of the players maybe weren't quite as good as the others, and that showed too. But for the most part, it worked itself out. So that was a lot of fun. The drafting process was interesting. So we had all the owners met up at the location, and Eddie and I connected. I took my MacBook with me. I connected with Eddie, and we were communicating on chat. And that was actually pretty fun. Like I had given you all the information I could about all the players, so you could see the ratings, if they're right or left-handed, if they're male or female. And I really liked having you involved in that process because I feel like you're better as far as like strategic thinking and stuff like that. I feel like I'm not quite as good about that kind of stuff in pickleball as you are. So I think you had some really good ideas in mind of approaches that we should take. Do you want to share anything about like how you felt going into that before we did the draft?
Yeah, I mean, basically, I took a spreadsheet of every player, and as Webby said, I had gender, duper rating, lefty or righty, and then everybody added their own comments about their level of play, what they're good at and stuff. And I basically just sorted by duper first, and then I categorized male and female because I thought that would be very strategic. I looked for the lefties, and that really led to a lot of the choices that we made. Obviously, to have a strong lefty, male or female, on your team is going to help, especially if you have a lefty male and a strong forehand female. Your mixed team could really throw off your opponents or whatnot. So I thought that was important. We were able to draft a lefty. I do think that it added to the success of the team. But I got to say, Webby, as we were going through that draft, it was so fast. It was so hard to keep up with everything. And every time I'm like, okay, these are the top three players. By the time it would get to us, boom, 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 all three were gone. And so we had to like scramble at the last minute and pick. But overall, I think we assembled a pretty good team. Do you want to talk about maybe the dynamic of the team a little bit and how the draft kind of played into how everybody got along and what the chemistry was like?
Yeah, I was very happy with the team. A couple of the people I didn't know beforehand. a lot of the people that were in the draft pool I didn't know. So that made it a little tougher too, because I mean, as everybody knows, duper ratings, they aren't always totally accurate. And so you can't put all your trust in that. But once Eddie had the idea of trying to draft a solid left-hander, um, when I saw Alec was on there, he and I have done a couple singles tournaments and played against each other, so I knew he was a very good, solid player. And when we were able to get him on the team, I was super happy. And he did end up being pretty much our star player, the one that we could count on for good, consistent play. And it worked out good because, especially another thing about the format of the Detroit Pickleball League is it's rally scoring, and it's to where the players stay on the same side the whole entire time. So if I start on the left or the right, I stay there the whole entire time. And it worked out good having a lefty on the team because it's best to have his forehand in the middle. So he was on the right, and then anytime somebody played with him, they would just play on the left, and that actually worked out really nice. And then we had two forehands down the middle, and my strategy was basically like try and let him take as many forehands as possible because he's the strongest player on the team, and I really do think that helped, and it helped lead to the success that we had when we got victories. The ladies on our team, they were super, super fun, and they were solid players compared to the other ladies throughout the league. So I was very happy with that. And then Joel, he is somebody that I've played with at Wolverine Pickleball a few times during the 3.5 plus nights and stuff like that. He and his wife, my daughter and I had played against him and his wife at Wolverine before. She was part of the league too, but she got drafted to a different team. But yeah, as far as team dynamic, I thought we all got along great. It was super fun. And I really enjoyed this team format a lot. This was my first time ever doing something like that. And it's just so much fun having other players there watching and cheering you on the whole time. Like that is such a morale booster. And it's so fun to be able to cheer them on when you're not playing too. Just like cheering on after a good rally or trying to uplift them and stuff like that. Like I really like that a lot. Have you ever done any of those team type formats before?
No, I want to. I know that there's a couple communities down here that do almost like an MLP style format. It's kind of funny to see how Major League Pickleball came in and people started to be like, oh my God, there's a lot of value in team-based formats with pickleball. And we're seeing it take off and kind of carry over into a bunch of different areas. It's definitely something that I want to be able to do because I do agree with you. I think that moving away from the traditional tennis style format tournaments is going to help amplify the sport. I'm not saying there's not a place for that traditional tournament style. I'm just saying that anywhere that we can implement more team-based things, I think it's going to be good for pickleball. We've seen it on the pro level, and I think now we're seeing it on the amateur level, the value that it can provide. Like you mentioned, having people there cheering you on, you're cheering them on. But Webby, one of the things that I was most impressed with when dealing with you about this is, I wasn't there. You were out there playing, you were with them, you were drilling with them, and you were almost coaching them. How was that? Because I know that that's not something that you typically are comfortable with or have a lot of experience with.
Yeah, you're right about that. I'm not super experienced and not super comfortable doing that kind of thing. But with this group, I felt super comfortable doing it because I felt like they were all very receptive to feedback. And I mean, all of us, our main priority was to have fun, but obviously we all want to win as well, and it is more fun to win sometimes. So if I ever noticed an area where somebody could maybe tweak a few things, I would bring it up, and they were all very receptive to that. And one cool thing is I recorded every single week, and I had two cameras going. I had my good camera that I usually do my vlogs with, and then I also had a cell phone that I did a private live stream of. So it wasn't made public or anything, but I made it to where Eddie could see it, and then I could share it with the team afterwards. And they said that proved to be a valuable tool because at the end of every night, I would send them the link to the live stream I did, and they were able to instantly watch all the games or watch any certain games they wanted to look back on, and then they could see things that they were doing wrong. And I did that too. I saw stuff I was doing wrong. I was like, okay, I need to like stop doing that and try to fix this and stuff like that. But yeah, I had no problem providing feedback or coaching them. And I felt like we all got along really well. We were all very comfortable around each other, and it was just super, super fun.
That's really cool. Yeah, it was a fun experience even from my perspective. Obviously, I would have loved to have been up there. Maybe if it was a summer league, I might have meandered up to Michigan to to attend a
Right.
game.
Yeah.
But it was really cool from my perspective to see it. And and one of the things that you brought up is you shared the recording with everyone. I think you and I are pretty lucky that we, just because of our YouTube channel, have pretty much recorded as much competitive play as we can that we're involved in. And I would always go back, I would watch it, I would say, oh, that doesn't look right, or this doesn't look right, or I need to focus on this, focus on that. You've obviously done the same as well. The rest of the people on the team, was this their first time ever watching video of themselves? And outside of just saying they appreciated it, did they give you any more insight into how it helped their game?
Yeah, they all really appreciated it. The two women on our team, I think it might have been their first time, as definitely the first time seeing footage that I recorded of them. Both Joel and Alec, they have done tournaments against me, so they've seen footage of them playing against me from the tournaments that we did. But definitely this was the most consistent footage they've seen of each other, or seen of themselves on a weekly basis and stuff like that. But they were all very appreciative. They loved the fact that I was able to do that. And I think that that was a cool thing that our team was able to offer, is to be able to offer some really in-depth, high-quality video footage of the gameplay. So in the future, everybody, if you're in the area, you should sign up to be part of the draft. And who knows, maybe you'll get drafted to our team in the future.
That's right. And what was our team name?
We were the Eddie and Webby Pickleballers. Super creative.
So creative and original. I love it. Let's talk a little bit more about the league. So each team had 5 players, right?
Yep, every team had 3 male players and 2 female players. And some people were like, oh, why is there more men and not as many women? And basically that boils down to, like, there aren't as many women that signed up and were as interested to do something like this. And I feel like that seems to be the case a lot of times when it comes to competitive pickleball. I know, like, especially when it comes to mixed doubles, I feel like there's usually like 10 men to every female. So it's tough to find a good female partner if you're a male player out there. And I'm not sure why that is, but just there doesn't seem to be as many competitive female players that want to get into stuff like this. I don't know if it's just they aren't aware of the stuff going on or what, but yeah, just there aren't as many female to choose from. In fact, this upcoming session, last I checked, I think we still needed a few more women to sign up for the draft, to even for all the teams to have 2 females on it. I think they might have reached it by now, but hopefully that's the case, because the next draft happens this coming Saturday. But yeah, there's just not quite as many high-level female players that showed interest in doing something like this.
Well, we should definitely change that, because out of all the formats, mixed doubles is my most favorite to play and to watch, followed next by women's doubles. I find men's doubles to be the actual most boring out of all of them, especially on the pro level. On the amateur level, there are definitely at like the low levels, I definitely think men's is more interesting to watch than women's. But on the pro level, and I would say like the 4-0 and above, I definitely prefer to watch women's. I feel like it's a faster game. I feel like it's more bang bang bang. There's longer rallies, where on the men's it's like dink 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 until somebody has a put away, and then boom, it's over.
Yeah,
mixed,
I totally
you have
agree.
A whole different strategy involved, where both people are playing different roles in the court. Like I think that having women involved in pickleball and getting more women involved in competitive pickleball is only going to elevate the game even more. So hopefully that'll change as time goes on here.
Yeah, for sure. Now, the biggest thing that I had to get adjusted to, and pretty much everybody that competed in this, is the fact that the whole thing was rally scoring. A lot of people had never done rally scoring before doing the Detroit Pickleball League, and it definitely was an adjustment. But I'll be honest, I loved it. I thought it was a great format. Because the games go by faster, we played a 21 instead of 11. And then what we did for this league is, once a team reaches 20 points, because you played a 21, win by 2. Once you reach 20, that's when you get locked in, and you can only score a point if your team is serving. And for anybody unaware, with rally scoring, a team gets a point regardless of if you're serving or not. So if you're on defense, the other team serves the ball, you win the rally. you still get the point. So a lot of fun though. Like I wasn't so sure if I was going to like it or not, because I've always been more of like a traditionalist, and I always thought pickleball is meant to play side out scoring. But no, this was super fun. I would gladly do another rally scoring event or even a rally scoring tournament if one becomes available in my area.
Yeah, I like rally scoring. I think that all singles should move to rally scoring, but I think for doubles play, as much as I like rally scoring and I see the value in it, I think that doing side out scoring, but where you don't switch sides, where if you're left side for this game, you're the left side for this game. If you're right side for this game, you're right side for this game. I think we should try that. I don't know that anybody's really tried that on a global scale, and I definitely think that that's the way to go. The whole point, like the whole concept of stacking, it's like, why are we adding this complexity to the sport? Just let the person play on the left and let them play on the right, and everything will work out in the end. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I never thought about doing that, like the side out scoring and keeping people on the same side, but that could be fun to try. I would definitely like to try that sometime, because I do think it would make it easier, because it's the hardest thing when getting somebody new into pickleball, trying to teach them the game. The absolute hardest thing is teaching how to keep score. And like it's so hard for people to grasp the concept properly. I know people that have been, like people like us that have been playing forever, like it doesn't seem like it would be that hard to explain. But it really is. Like no matter what, no matter if it's somebody's first time playing, it's going to be hard for them to understand the whole 0-0-1, 0-0-2. When you start a game, you're the second server, but otherwise you're the first server. It's like there's so much complexity to it that I like your idea. I've never thought about that before though, like doing side out scoring, but having the players either stay on the right or the left. I like that. I think that could be really good.
I mean, why are we adding that complexity to it? Most people, most high level people are stacking now anyway, and so it's like, why even just remove the need to do that, and then everything should work itself out. As long as you stay on that side, in theory, you should always have the equal number of serves and returns. Now, obviously, in rally scoring, it's a little bit different, but the downside of rally scoring is that it takes away the importance of your third shot, to where side out scoring, it's more important. And so that's why I think finding the common ground there would be good. But anyway, that's another rant of my own. Getting back to the Detroit Pickleball League. So how many matches were there total for this season?
So it was a 7-week season, and the regular season was the first 5 weeks, and then the last 2 weeks were the playoffs. So there was 8 teams total. So there were times so you weren't going to play against everybody in the regular season just due to the time limitation of the league. So the first 5 weeks, it was, what I was told is that it was randomized. Like they didn't pick and choose who played against who. They put all the teams into some randomizer. I think there's a website or some kind of application that they used, and then that determined who played who for the first 5 weeks. And then the way that it worked is each week you played a match against one other team, and a match consisted of 9 games. And it would be a women's doubles match first, then a men's doubles match, then another women's doubles, then another men's doubles, and then 3 mixed doubles matches. And then the final match, the 9th match of the evening, is what they would call a dream break doubles match. And hopefully I can explain this clearly. It might sound confusing, but basically, so there's 5 people on a team. You pick 4 people, and you have to pick, before the whole night starts, you have to choose which 4 people you want to take part in the dream break doubles match. So you pick your 4 people, and then before that dream break match starts, the team owner of the home team, and they designated which team was the home team and the away team each week. So whoever was the designated home team, they would let the visiting team know which 2 players were going to start for them in the dream break doubles match, and then that allowed the visiting team to then pick which 2 people they want to start for them to go against the duo that was mentioned. So then the way it works is, as soon as a team scores 4 points, that team swaps out those 2 players for the other 2 players that were designated for the foursome. Hopefully that makes sense. And you only swap out players if your team scores 4 points. So, so it's pretty strategic. If you're the visiting team, once you know which two players are starting for the home team, because you don't want there to be there's always the risk of a team getting stuck. Like if there's a duo that's struggling, they could get stuck and not score many points. But actually, I think every single Dream Break match we were involved in, it came down to 2 to 4 point difference each time. So it was pretty close. A lot of them, I think a majority of them actually ended with a score of 22 to 20. That's how closely matched they were. But yeah, hopefully I explained that properly to where it makes sense. Did it make sense to you the way that I explained it?
It did, and I'm not surprised that they ended it close. I mean, that's also the advantage of rally scoring with a freeze, is that you're typically going to have very close games. They're not going to. I mean, sometimes you will have blowouts if one team is dominant, but I kind of like that. And going along with that, we did have a question from Mo Money on YouTube, and they asked, did the highest overall duper teams end up on the podium, or did some teams overperform? So maybe before you answer that, Webby, you should start with, where did the Eddie and Webby Pickleballers end up at the end of the season? And also, do we know the correlation between duper scores and the results of this season?
That is a great question. I don't know, unfortunately. I wish I would have looked that up, because that's very interesting. And I think what I'll do after this episode, after we finish the live stream, I'm going to look that up, and then I will respond to your comment, because I think that's a great question, and I am very interested to know. The only tough part is I think there were a decent amount of players that don't use duper and didn't have a duper rating. But
did this league affect your duper?
It did not. No, nothing was input into duper. No. Now, as far as what was your question? I forgot the first part of your question.
Well, where did the Eddie and Webby Pickleballers end up?
Oh yeah. So at the end of the regular season, this part was very heartbreaking, but we were so only the top 4 teams make it into the playoffs after the 5 weeks finishes. And we only needed one more game victory to make it into the playoffs. Because of the one game we needed being short, we did not make it into the playoffs. So after the regular season, we were in 5th place. But then for the last 2 weeks of the postseason, we were still in the running for some hardware. They did what's called the consolation bracket, and we ended up winning the consolation bracket. So the reason why it's so heartbreaking, the fact that we didn't make it into the playoffs, is this league, it goes by total games won as opposed to total matches won. And if you remember what I said earlier, a match consists of playing one team. You play 9 games and see how it goes. We ended with a record of 3-2 as far as like the overall matches go. And the team that came in that got 4th and made it into the playoffs, we actually beat them in our head-to-head, and we had a higher match win count than they did. They had a match record of 2-3. We had a match record of 3-2. But the league only cares about total games won as opposed to matches, which
we got to switch that.
Yeah, so that's the one thing that I don't 100% agree with.
It should go matches, then games, then head to head, and then score. Like that. That seems like
that's what I thought too. I don't know. I was told that the previous season was kind of like the test season, and for whatever reason they determined that they prefer games won as opposed to matches won. And what happened this year is like the match record was going to be the tiebreaker. And that's if our team would have won just one extra game, we would have had a tie for 4th. And that team that we would have tied 4th with, we had a higher match win. So we would have beaten that tiebreaker because of our match record. But yeah, I feel like it's a tough one, because I kind of see what they're doing, but I don't know. It just seems like the match wins should have more importance. I can't remember the exact reason for it. He said that all the team owners and the teams discussed it, and that's what they came up with. I don't know the exact reasoning for it, but yeah, that was tough. I really think like our team definitely deserved to be in the playoffs. We had one really bad week where we didn't get any wins, so I mean that cost us big time. But because of that one bad week, it killed our chances of winning the whole entire thing.
But that's exactly another reason why going to matches one to me makes way more sense, because if you have a bad week, okay, we had a bad week. But now if you turn it up the next week and you win that match, like I don't know. It seems odd to me, like a strange way to be able to go about it. So if anybody out there, if you were part of the decision to go to games and then matches, reach out to us and let us know. We'd love to hear your perspective, because maybe we're missing something, but my gut is that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's probably the thing I disagreed with the most of the whole experience. But other than that, like I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was very well ran. I know a lot of work went into it because there was a lot of moving parts to make it work. But it was super fun. I'm glad we did it. And session 1 just ended last week. And like I said, we won the consolation bracket championship. And if you haven't seen it yet, I just posted the video yesterday, but I think that was the best week of competition of the whole entire league for our team, just because every game was super, super close. It came down to the Dream Break doubles match. Whoever won the Dream Break doubles was the winner. And that match was super close. And it was a 22-20 score. And we ended up coming home with this bad boy right here, the consolation bracket championships. But man, yeah, I really wish that we could have seen what we would have done in the actual playoffs. But the two teams the team that won it, they're the team that destroyed us, and we went 0-9 against. So that didn't surprise me too much. And then the team that got second place was the only other team that beat us in the match to match, or the matchups and stuff like that.
Got
so
it.
It's cool to know that the only two teams that beat us in the matches were the teams that won the whole thing.
Okay. That's good to know. Great job carrying the team. That was pretty cool. What's next for Detroit Pickleball League?
So next we have the draft for session 2, which happens this Saturday. And the way it works is if any of the players are returning, they can stay on the same team. But if any players couldn't do session 2, then that's where the draft comes into play. So unfortunately, neither of our females were able to commit to the second session. They really wished they could, but their work schedules and vacation schedules and stuff like that just made it to where it wasn't worth them signing up to do the second one, because they would have to miss too much. So we will need to draft 2 new female players to our team. But I've heard some of the names that got added to the draft pool that weren't part of session 2, and I've got to say, I'm pretty excited about the potential. There are some great players in the draft, and the way that it's going to work is the placement that you ended up with in the first session determines the order that you get to do a draft pick in. So we get pick number 4. And all right.
Because it'll go 8th, 7th, 6th, 5th.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
Yep, and we got 5th place overall. So one cool thing is I looked at, if I understand everything correctly, as far as how many which teams need how many players, I think the most females that could get drafted before we get our first pick is 2. So that's good. That makes it to where as long as we see like 3 or 4 players that we really like, that we're guaranteed to get at least one of them. So that is cool. I'm not going to name any names, but there are 2 people on the list that I have my eye on. So I'm hoping at least one of them are available when we get our first pick, maybe even both. If we could get both, it's going to be awesome. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to miss Gina and Linda. There are 2 female players that will not be part of session 2, but I am excited about potentially who could be joining.
That's great. And you're playing again, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yep, all the guys on the team are returning. So we got myself, Alec, and Joel, all solid players, except for me. I feel weird saying that I'm a solid player, but I feel like I can hold my own in the Detroit Pickleball League.
Nice. That's cool. Like overall, how was the entire experience?
It was great. I'm glad that we did it. Really the toughest thing about it for me is the fact it happens Friday evenings, and that can be tough to give up your Friday evenings for 7 weeks straight. I think it helps the fact that it's in the winter. Not a whole lot going on in the winter. It makes it to where we can't take a trip. I mean, we can. in session 2, I'm going to be missing 1 week because of a vacation. But what happens is you just find a sub, and you're supposed to, like, each player kind of is in a certain tier. Like, depending on what your duper rating is or whatever your self rating is, you're on like tier 1, 2, 3, or 4, and then you're supposed to find a sub that is like just a similar rating as you. Like, they don't want, if somebody's got a 3.5 rating, they don't want them being subbed with like a 4.4 player, because that would not really be fair, because like if you're getting like yes, really. But yeah, for obvious reasons, that wouldn't be the right thing to do. But yeah, so when I'm out, I'll get a sub. There was 1 week where Alec was out. We got a sub, and his sub was my buddy Jacob. Anybody who watches the YouTube videos, Jacob and I have teamed up a couple times in tournaments, so that was really cool to have him fill in for Alec. We ended up winning that week, just barely though. We went 5-4, but luckily the both of our subs they pulled through and did nicely. But yeah, it's super fun. Another cool thing, tomorrow, which is Friday, they are doing a free open play session for everybody who's coming back for session 2, and all of the people that are in the draft are able to participate too. So it's going to be kind of like a scouting session. So I'll be able to go, I'll be able to play, and also kind of oversee on who's out there in the draft to see if anybody catches my eye.
Nice. Well, I won't be around for the draft this time, so you better pick them good, Webby. You better pick them good. You know? Do you hear me?
I'll do good.
Yeah,
I'll do good. I feel good because I got Alec and Joel will be there as well. They'll be helping me scout. So nice. I think between the three of us, we should be able to get some nice picks.
That's great. Anytime during the season, did you ever say,
"This is awesome"?
Oh yeah, so many times, especially last week when we won the consolation bracket. I probably said that like 20 times. This is awesome.
This is awesome.
I love that clip. I love it. Oh, that's great,
nice.
Man. That's cool. It's yeah. It seems like it was a great overall experience, especially because you're signing up for another season of it.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was very cool. Oh, there we go. Me saying it's awesome again. That's all I ever say.
Awesome.
That's all I ever say. But yeah, very great experience. But I say enough about me blabbering on. You took part in something that was really cool too, and I would love to learn more about that.
I would love to talk about it, but first, I think we got to go over some pretty incredible memes that have come up in the last 24 hours or 36 hours. What do you say about that?
Yeah, I love a good meme.
Okay. So hopefully you guys tuned in to this would have been Wednesday's live stream of PPA Mesa, where it wasn't like the full Tennis Channel broadcast. And I think it was just an add-on. This would have been during the round of 32. They had a commentator in there whose name was Laura. And she said some very interesting things that I don't even know what to say, but I think we should just watch it here. So without further ado, here are some memes from Memes of Pickleball that I think are hilarious here. So we're just going to play them. Oh no.
Oh, did it get removed? Oh.
Oh no, it's no longer. I think it's outside of it. All right, that's okay. We got plenty more here. Let's go to this next one.
And this may just be, I mean, this could just be a difference of reflexes here. And let me add something in, Jim. A lot of times people don't realize, or you don't hear much of. When a female has had a child, after having one child, actually their skill levels or their playing abilities actually get better after one child. That's research that is a proven fact. But after two children, it drops dramatically. Talk about age. Now, Christine has had a couple of children. She's a little bit older. She's in her 30s, whereas the others are still all in their 20s. So that really could just be the difference of the match here, or maybe she's not been playing as much or used to that level.
Oh, man. Oh, my God.
Okay. All right. So, quick brag moment.
My wife is now a PhD. So through her experience of going through her program, I'm super proud of her. But through her experience of going through her program, I've learned a lot about different studies and correlation between causation and proof and what you have to go through statistically. I mean, I got to see what she's talking about here. Like, have you ever heard of this? That there's a correlation between the number of children you have and your athletic performance, where one goes up and then two goes like what?
Never. I have never heard that in my life. But she seemed pretty matter of fact. Like she said, it's proven fact. It's common knowledge. I mean, man.
Were you watching this live when she brought it up?
I was. I was like, did she really just say that? Like, did Christine realize she was going to get roasted like while she's playing? I mean, like, man, oh man, like, but yeah, I had no idea that having a child makes women amazing and much better than they were before having a child. But then if you had a second child, your quality of life just declines and you're basically worth nothing.
It's so bad. I can't believe she said that. I mean, listen, I'm not saying that we need to show up at her doorstep with pitchforks or anything like that. But yeah, right. Maybe if she's going to be back on the mic, she might want to reconsider presenting these things in a little bit different way. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, and honestly, if she's listening and you want to explain yourself, we would gladly have you on and try to clear things up, and maybe you could cite the sources and you could fill us in, just educate us about where you learned that amazing information from.
Was this study peer reviewed? I don't know. We need to look,
right.
So.
Man.
Let's keep it going here with a couple more.
We'll play.
Okay. Oh, we're going to move past this one.
What if, and just hear me out for a second, you shut them.
It's so good. It's so good.
Oh my God.
Oh man.
Oh, thank you, memes of pickleball. Memes of pickleball is one of the best things to happen to the sport of pickleball.
I'm so happy memes of pickleball came out. I have up here that they were the winner of the Instagram Creator of the Year award on the Dink. I totally agree. There's a lot of great content creators out there, and I don't want to take away from any of them because some of them are great, like the next clip we're going to show you. But I do feel like, Webby, you're totally right. Memes of pickleball, you take it to the next level. So creative. I love it. I think that's great what you do. Right?
Absolutely. And how quickly they get things done too. Like they are just on the ball. I feel like they're watching every bit of pickleball that's broadcast, and then as soon as they see something that stands out, they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm making a meme of that right here, right now."
Mm-hmm. I mean, that'd be a fun
appreciate
job.
you for it.
I wish I was that creative, because it'd be great to just sit down and watch the live streams, and every time something happens, just make a note of it or rip it real quick and then make a meme out of it. I wish I was that creative, because that would be a fun job.
Oh yeah, and I feel like I'm creative for the most part, but I mean, that takes a lot of skill, because not only do you have to hone in and find the things as they happen, but you also have to have references to combine it with, because a meme, there's an art to doing a good meme. Mm-hmm. And memes of pickleball, they have perfected that art.
I agree. This next clip here, this is the last social media clip that I wanted to bring up here, the last meme. Our buddy Chris Cali over at Sorry Not Sorry Pickleball posted this. I don't think this is his video, but if you guys didn't watch, about a week and a half ago, I jumped on his podcast, Sorry Not Sorry Pickleball, and we were going through some different memes, and they were asking some of the pros who have the contracts, what are they going to spend their money on? And Tyler Loong had brought up that he bought the Apple Vision Pro, and I was just saying oh, that's so stupid, because I really do think that the Apple Vision Pro is kind of stupid. I probably will end up getting one eventually, but right now I want to be judgmental and say it's stupid. And then this happened here. So, Webby, without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and play it.
Is this what the future of sports training will look like? Being able to drill while watching instructional videos is a game changer, and it's making it so I'm able to improve twice as fast. I can multitask and implement what I'm learning right away. Another benefit of drilling while wearing the Apple Vision Pros is that I get extreme motion sickness and feel incredibly nauseous after just 5 minutes of doing it. So then whenever I'm in an actual game and I feel physical discomfort, it's not that big of a deal because I'm so used to playing while feeling sick.
Oh, that is so good. I didn't see that one yet. That is so good.
It's so funny. Oh my god, it cracks me up.
Oh man.
What? Could you imagine? Oh, like, first of all, I get nauseous and I don't know, like seasick, car sick, like whatever, like motion sickness, I guess you could call it sometimes. If I was wearing that, oh my god, I would probably end up throwing up in the corner because that would kill me.
Oh yeah. I've seen a bunch of YouTube videos of people using that thing, and not one of them has made me want to get one. Like it does not seem appealing to me. I feel like that's only for people that don't really like ever want to leave their house. Maybe it could be good for them. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there like that too. So I'm sure they would love that kind of thing. But if you're the kind of person that likes to like get out in the real world and do things, I feel like that's probably not a necessary purchase.
Do you want to know where I think it would come in handy is when I'm flying? Because I usually just like either work on my laptop or watch movies on my iPad or whatever when I'm flying. I can't read it. It makes me sick to read a lot when I'm flying. So maybe to have that could help, but it also could make things much worse. I don't really know, but I guess if there's an area in my life where I could see value, that would be it.
Yeah. One thing I thought was cool in the promos I've seen and stuff is how like you can kind of make it seem like you have a big screen TV like anywhere in your house. Like that part did seem kind of cool. But again, that's you being in your house, not really doing anything. I prefer to go out and do things outside of my house, like play pickleball.
Well, now you can do it with your,
yeah,
Apple Vision
maybe I'll play better if I wear the Apple Vision and I can watch all the instructional videos as I'm playing.
There's plenty on Simone Jardim Pickleball YouTube channel. Go check that out. And
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I thought those were fun. We might be sprinkling in some more memes here in the future, so maybe a little hint into what we're about to see. I don't know. Just
really?
Really?
Oh, really?
Yes, really, Catherine. I love it.
Nice.
Yeah. What are we talking about now? What are we doing?
So I really want to know about something that you recently did, and that got a lot of attention in the pickleball world, and that was the Pickleball Slam 2 event. And this guy right over here was actually there, and I'd love to know why you were there, what you did while you were there, and how it was.
Well, it was a blast, for lack of a better term. For those of you that don't know, Pickleball Slam 2 was the second installment of this. Pickleball Slam 1 happened last spring. Pickleball Slam 2 happened on February 4th, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at the Seminole Hard Rock Casino and Hotel in Hollywood, Florida, at the Hard Rock Live Theater, I guess you want to call it, right? And the reason I was there is because the company that I've talked about a couple times on the podcast that Kyle Selinko, the owner and founder of Boxcar Productions, and I created, called Close Call Replay, we actually debuted our system at Pickleball Slam 2. So I just want to put that in perspective a little bit. Kyle and I are like pushing the boundary on using high frame rate, frame synced cameras and a frame sync camera system to be able to, within seconds, pull up, clips of the ball hitting the line and slowing it down and jogging and zooming within seconds of it happening. And we decided, why not debut it at Pickleball Slam 2, where you're going to have hundreds of thousands of viewers live on ESPN? Don't debut it at like an APP or a PPA event where you have like a few thousand. Let's just for our first one, let's just go right to the tippity top with some really calm and easygoing characters out on the pickleball court, like John McEnroe, right? He doesn't really add stress to anybody around him or anything. So it seemed like a really low risk scenario. And obviously I'm being very sarcastic. Like, Kyle must have thought I was crazy to be like, no, man, we got to do it. We got to get our system ready. The reason we got the invite is because he actually did this with his 60 frames per second system last April, before him and I partnered up on the 240 frames per second system. So that's why we were there. Webby, did that answer your question?
It did. And how was that though? Like when you were there, was it overwhelming at all, or were you just so busy that you couldn't even like really get nervous about the fact that all these tennis legends were there?
So it was kind of weird. First of all, it was the first time I've ever been a part of a massive production that had hundreds of people as part of the production crew. So seeing these giant, trailers with production equipment and cables running everywhere and laborers and union camera operators, like all trying to figure it out and running cables on top of each other, and the LED board guys and us, like it was very overwhelming. The night before we left, so this would have been Friday night, Kyle came down to Florida that Thursday night. Friday night, him and I were wrapping up our system. We ran into a couple technical issues, and I think I got maybe 2 hours of sleep that night.
Oh,
and
man.
so it was bad. And Webby, you know me, I don't operate very well on little sleep. I need my sleep. I like my sleep. So
Yeah.
Long story short, Saturday was our load-in day, where basically him and I loaded up. We got there, we unloaded. They were like painting the courts and stuff still, but then there was a clinic that was going on where we got to see McEnroe and Sharapova playing with other people. I saw like J.W. Johnson and Georgia Johnson were there too, because this whole pickleball slam event also had an amateur aspect to it that took place on Miami Beach. And so some of that kind of started to spill over into the Hard Rock Live auditorium where we were at. So anyway, was setting up on Saturday, and I was like a zombie the whole day. And I'm glad I was, because it was pretty overwhelming, right? Like I don't get very starstruck, but I do have to say, seeing Andre Agassi and Steffi Graf out there was like, it was pretty crazy. Like being within a few feet of them, one of them hit the ball out of bounds. I had to throw it back. Like that was pretty cool, because they're celebrities for what being exceptional humans at something, right? And I like celebrities like that. I don't really care for celebrities that become famous because they did something stupid online and everybody blew them up, right? Like these people put their heart and soul, especially Steffi Graf. Like she's the most decorated tennis player of all time, and just a great person. You could tell her and Andre were just incredible people, super nice. It was cool to experience that. So that was my Saturday. Then Sunday came around and it was game day. And honestly, I was not nervous at all. I had so much trust and faith in our system that I was not nervous one bit.
Nice.
We, where Kyle and I were at, they had Michelle Baumgartner sitting with us. She was the line call referee. We were also sitting right next to Zach, who was the line producer. And then we only had one challenge come up. I don't know. I know you were watching live because you texted me, but there's only one line challenge. It's kind of crazy to think that all that time put into this for one line challenge that happened the entire match.
Right.
Was crazy. And you were watching live. Like, what did you think?
I was excited. Like when that first came up, I was like, there it is. Because my wife and I were both watching it, and we were like, there it is. That's Eddie and Kyle right there. That's them doing that. And but yeah, like I was disappointed only because there weren't more line challenges. I wish there was more line challenges, but I mean, what are you gonna do? You can't control when they are gonna do line challenges or not. But like the one line challenge that they did call, it was flawless. It was nice.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And you can ask Michelle Baumgartner. We literally had that thing up and we're zooming in and jogging within 3 seconds of it happening. Because basically what's happening is the whole time Kyle and I were watching the match. And anytime there's anything close, and when I say close, I'm pretty liberal with that term. Like even if it was within a few feet, I was hitting a button in our system that basically tagged that moment. It would say, okay, reserve the last 3 seconds.
and that way you could pull it up immediately at any time you wanted. So we had it dialed in. We were ready. Michelle made the call right away. Everything was great. They did pull our feed onto broadcast a second time. It wasn't for a line challenge, but Sharapova was questioning whether or not she was going to make a call, whether a ball was in or out or whatnot. And she was on the left side. It was a cross court dink. And we pulled up that clip proactively. We were able to kind of punch in a little bit, and we jogged it just to see if it was in or out. ESPN, they were the ones making the final decision. They decided to pull it on the broadcast, which was kind of cool. And then also our output was going to the LED boards as well. So it got seen both from the broadcast and LED boards. So it was pretty cool, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and I noticed it that second time too. I saw it come up on the screen, even though they didn't officially do a line call. I could tell that was your thing. And that whole thing was live, right? Like that was broadcast live. Because to be honest, like your thing, like when they did do the line challenge, it came up so quick. It made me think like, oh, is this pre-recorded? Because that came up so quick. Like that's how impressive it was, how good your system was, because you guys were just on it immediately.
Yeah, thank you. No, I agree. I think that's the key to the system is you got to be ready. You got to be able to pull it up at any point. And having the 240 frames per second recording caught so much more, obviously 4 times the amount of frames as a 60 frames per second system. And I know to a lot of people that might not mean anything, but basically to summarize it, if you could have 10,000 frames per second, that would be great, right? Because you could see the ball traveling and you could see every movement 10,000 times in 1 second of recording. Well, those cameras exist, but first of all, they cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, and to have 6 of them going into one system that's all frame synced, meaning you can jog between each camera angle at the exact same frame and know that it's all synced up, it's pretty much impossible. So you could go to like 1,000 frames per second and spend a few $100,000, maybe closer to $1 million to have a system like that with 6 cameras. We found the sweet spot. It's 240 frames per second. 6 cameras on sidelines and baseline, and it really gives you the ability to make a call as to whether or not the ball was in or out, pretty much as close to perfection as you can get. And Michelle had no problem making the call. Kyle and I, and all of our testing and all of the clips that we brought from that event, not one of them did we miss a frame. You could tell distinctly where the ball landed every single time. And so our hope is that we can use this to help educate and inform fans and pros for you guys to demand close call replay at all of these events. Because I'm telling you, Kyle and I, we're not in it for greed. We're not in it to make millions of dollars. We are in it because we believe in this product, and we believe that close call replay is the next step in having an accurate line challenge system to kind of keep up with how everything else in the sport is growing.
Yeah, man. I really think that I hope people tuning in will take action. Like, this is really a call to action moment. Like, please, like, request, demand even that that PPA, APP, all the pro tournaments, every organization out there uses something like this, because this will make pickleball a more respectable, a more legit pro sport. Because right now, I think the lack of the line call replay systems is what's preventing it from moving forward. In fact, I don't know if this was legit. I saw something online about some of the gambling apps removing pickleball because things are just so unreliable right now with the sport. And I think the main reason is the line call type thing. Like, the players are calling, like, your opponent is causing these calls to stand. And if there's not the option to challenge and then have a good replay system like this out there, then there's no reason for people to not make bad calls on purpose. And that happens. People know players that do this, and it's really bad for the sport.
I agree. I think that we need to start holding players accountable, but the only way we can hold them accountable is if we have more evidence than what we have right now. And yes, you can look at 60 frames per second broadcast cameras, and that can help you a lot of the time to be able to determine whether a ball was in or not. But it's also based on perspective. I guarantee you, if I took a camera angle where we position it, which is a few feet off the ground, right down the line, versus one that's at an angle or versus one that's directly overhead, and I showed you the exact same clip of where the ball landed, you probably would get 3 different perspectives on where that ball landed. So you have to go with the one that is most accurate, and that is slightly elevated down the line. That's going to give you the best view of it. And another thing that's crazy, Webby, how many times have you heard that a pickleball does not compress?
A lot. I've heard that a lot over the years.
Well, let me tell you, our system is so fast at recording these clips that you can actually see when a pickleball hits the ground, especially if there's some heat behind it, there is compression. It's not a lot, but our system is so fast that you can actually see the shape of the ball change as it's making contact with the ground.
Wow. Yeah, there are people that for years have adamantly said that the ball does not compress. So the fact that you guys are able to catch that, very, very impressive.
Yeah, thank you. We've been working hard about this. Kyle and I just had another conversation with the tournament series today, and not a tournament series, but an event. And they're not sure of the value. They're not going to be implementing any sort of line challenge system at all because they think that it's just going to be like hard to implement. And what I want to tell everybody is it's easy to implement. The referees know how to do it. The referees want it because it takes the pressure off them. The fans want it because they want to be able to see whether the ball was in or out, and they want to be able to make sure that these players can be held accountable. It adds a little bit to the drama when you have a challenge coming in. Think about Tuesday Night Pickleball and the challenge chicken and all that, right? It adds to the excitement of the match a little bit, and it's going to hold people accountable. Enough of this crappy line call stuff. We got to implement something better. We have what can make it better. And Webby, this is only phase 1. Phase 2 is actually going to be integrating AI and actually having a computer-generated model make the line call for you. It's going to be able to track the ball. It's going to be able to track the court, and it's going to be able to identify the point where the ball makes contact with the ground. It's going to be able to identify the center point of the ball, and if it's outside the line, it's out, and if it's on the line or inside, it's going to be considered in. That is going to be phase 2. But that does require a lot of time. That requires a lot of money. And so that's why we think let's get phase 1 up and running right now. When that's going, that's when we can start dedicating more time to phase 2. And now we can have an affordable computer-generated line calling system in pickleball in the very near future. We just got to get this going.
That's awesome, man. Like, yeah, like you guys, like the pro tournaments that aren't implementing this are insane right now. Like it's crazy to me that something like this hasn't already been implemented, but the fact that it hasn't, and the fact that you guys have it available and ready to offer, it blows my mind that it's not being used yet. Like PPA is going on right now. They're not using it. And in fact, our everybody's favorite commentator that we watched the memes of earlier, she even went on a rant about how the fact that it's crazy that the players are making these calls and that the refs don't have a good system to like if they miss the call, that's just whatever the player says stands in that if even she can recognize something like that, I feel like why aren't the pro tournaments recognizing like that? Like like I said before, we need a call to action. If something was to ever go viral in the pickleball world, this needs to go viral. If we want pickleball to be taken seriously, this has to be implemented. It's just insane to me that it's not.
Well, I'm glad that you think like that because obviously Kyle and I do. We wouldn't have invested all this time and all this money into it if we didn't believe that it was going to provide value. So to hear that from you is much appreciated. And I think it kind of helps reinforce what we already believe, which is this is the next step in pickleball. And we're ready whenever these tournament series are ready to get serious. We'll be ready for them. In the meantime, we're going to continue to make this system even better, small tweaks, small iterations, so that way we are ready when somebody's ready to pull the trigger, or maybe we just make our own thing and use it there. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
The Eddie and Webby Pickleball Association.
I like
The
it. EWPA.
EWPA. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, if we have to, we'll make it happen.
That's right. Thanks for letting me share that, man. I got to say, overall, though, Pickleball Slam 2 is a really cool event. If you guys didn't get a chance to watch it, it was a lot of fun. John McEnroe is the same guy in the court as he is off the court. He's just a grumpy old man, and he cracks me up. Sharapova, super sweet. I actually saw her get better on the court, which is crazy. Andre, you can tell he's starting to pick up the game a lot. Steffi Graf, she could use a little bit of work. But then you had James Blake and Jack Sock, who...
Oh, yeah.
James Blake, I mean, top 10 tennis player. Jack Sock, he's made a very successful transition into pickleball. I saw him today beat Tyson McGuffin in singles.
Yep.
Jack Sock is the real deal when it comes to making that proper transition from tennis to pickleball. We've seen that just because you're a good tennis player doesn't mean you're going to be a good pickleball player. It means you could probably show up to a court and win a 4-0 tournament or even a 4-5 tournament within like a couple of days of playing, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be able to hang at the pro level. Jack Sock has really proven that he can make that transition. It is doable. Some of the other tennis players who I'm not going to mention seem to have struggled a little bit. So they were on a whole different level that night. You could see them actually like playing down a little bit, which was crazy.
But yeah, Jack Sock, I am a big fan of his now. Like I'll be honest, I never really cared a whole lot about pro tennis throughout my life. Pickleball has actually made me take more notice of tennis, and I'm starting to respect tennis a lot more, pro tennis, because of it. But Jack Sock, like I love what he stands for. I love the fact that he's committing to pickleball, and he has said himself he wants to be like a bridge between tennis and pickleball, because he feels like there's no reason for there to be like this feud between pickleball and tennis. Like they should be working together, because it's just like both are great sports. I mean, tennis, I don't think any pickleball player will disagree that you have to be a really like a much better athlete to be able to be a successful tennis player than pickleball. But still, pickleball requires a whole different set of skills. It's more of like a chess match type of thing. And I love that Jack Sock really respects pickleball. And he's proven that he's an amazing tennis player. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of his. I didn't know who he was before he got into pickleball, to be honest, but I'm a huge fan of him and what he stands for. And because of people like him, I'm starting to watch tennis more, because I want to see like who the potential up and coming pro pickleball players are going to be.
Yeah, he's helping to bridge that gap, which I think is definitely needed. There's still a lot of tension across the country between tennis players and pickleball players. Typically, it comes from the tennis players, from what I have seen, and it's I don't know if they just don't like to see people having fun. Because when I watch people play tennis recreationally, they're not laughing, they're not smiling, they're not joking with each other. They're miserable. And I'm like, why are you doing this? And like, literally, unless you're good, you spend 90% of the time just chasing the ball down. So I guess what I'm saying is, I'm not dogging on tennis. I'm just saying, you like your tennis? Great. Have fun. We like pickleball. And guess what? A lot of people like pickleball, to the point where a lot of your tennis courts are getting converted to pickleball courts. Sorry about your luck. It's just how it's capitalism, right? Like pickleball is taken off. But both can exist together. Just stop being assholes, okay?
Yep.
Thank you.
And I have a couple friends that are big tennis players. I keep trying to get them to play pickleball, and they still refuse to play because they think it's so inferior. And one thing that I'm upset at Andre Agassi about is last year after the Pickleball Slam, he made a comment about how pickleball is where tennis players go to die. And my tennis friends, anytime I bring up pickleball, they share that clip of Andre Agassi saying pickleball is where tennis players go to die, and that's why they are not playing it. So that one thing that Andre Agassi said really hurt the image of pickleball. So that's one thing that I am not very happy with Andre Agassi about. I love the fact that he's into pickleball now, and he's definitely taking it more serious now. But man, that hurt when he said that.
Yeah. Come on, Andre. Clean it up, buddy.
Yep.
Oh, well, that was a fun time. Do you know what else is a fun time, Webby?
What's that?
Staying hydrated. How do you like to stay hydrated?
Well, I like to stay hydrated every morning by drinking some pickleball cocktail. I used to drink the orange flavor, but now I drink the blue raspberry. And then when I'm playing pickleball, I like to drink Fruit Punch Electrolyte Supreme. It is so, so tasty.
Oh, is that from our friends over at Jigsaw Health?
As a matter of fact, it is.
Interesting. I like to stay hydrated with Jigsaw Health products as well. I am a big fan of the pickleball cocktail blue raspberry flavor. It's my number one. It tastes like cotton candy, and I thoroughly enjoy it. But I take other products from them on a day-to-day basis as well. Like recently started taking their collagen boost, which I'm a big fan of. I also take daily the Mag SRT, the adrenal cocktail, and the cod liver oil. At Jigsaw Health, it is fun to feel good. And I know that I feel good when I take these products. And you can too if you go to jigsawhealth.com. You can use coupon code PB for Life 10, and that's going to get you what, Webby?
That's going to get you $10 off your order.
That's right. It's going to get you some great products. It's going to get you $10 off. It's going to help support us. All great things. Jigsawhealth.com. Coupon code PB for Life 10. You're going to like it.
You are. I guarantee it.
Is
it? Didn't
like the way you look?
Yeah, that's what it was. You're gonna like the way you look. I guarantee it. It's from what was that? Was that Men's Warehouse or was that something
Warehouse.
else? Yeah.
Come on.
Not a sponsor.
No. If they want to sponsor, I would throw on a suit coat from them and
hell
show
yeah,
it off over top of my Eddie. We got to have close call replay on one shoulder and Valera on the other, but we can throw those on a suit coat, a blazer. That's not a problem.
Or we could wear the suit and then toss these T-shirts over the suit.
Yeah, I mean everybody does that. That's the way to do it. You wear the suit jacket, then a T-shirt over it, and then a tie over that, and then then you look good. Yeah,
hell yeah,
you look good in that. I guarantee it.
Well, this was a live episode of Dinking Around with Eddie and Webby, and it might be the last live episode for a very long time. So thank you to everybody who tuned in for this historic moment. I love doing these live episodes, but we thought it was time for a little bit of a change in format. We're not going anywhere. Dinking Around with Eddie and Webby is still going strong, but it's going to be a bit different moving forward.
Yes, it's going to be shorter. It's going to be more frequent. It's going to be more entertaining, fast-paced, and it's going to be fun. Anything else you want to say about that, Webby?
No, I'm excited about it. I can't wait to debut the first episode of the new and improved Dinking Around with Eddie and Webby, and I think you guys are really going to like it a lot. And I'm excited. Me
too. Well, Webby, this has been a lot of fun. I always enjoy doing these live episodes with you. Tonight was a little bit more off the cuff. We were just talking, hanging out, but it was good to catch up. I hope you guys all out there enjoyed it. We brought back the Eddie and Webby podcast in kind of a different form, which we are calling
Just the Pickle.
Yes. Episodes have been dropping every Sunday night on YouTube, Monday morning on all audio platforms. Definitely go check that out. We've been bringing back some great content from the past. You don't want to miss it. There's so much great stuff that we've done that we want to be able to bring you back, and we strip out all the things that aren't pickleball related and give you just the pickle. Anything else you want to add, Webby?
On top of that, the weekly highlight reels of the Detroit Pickleball League just came to a close last week for session 1, but don't fret if you're a fan of them. I've actually gotten a lot of good feedback about them. We will be back in a couple of weeks for session 2 of the Detroit Pickleball League, and the Eddie and Webby Pickleballers will be back. We're going to try and make it into the playoffs and win the whole thing. We're going to have a couple new team members. We don't even know who they're going to be yet because the draft is happening this coming Saturday. So many exciting things. So much content coming your way on the Eddie and Webby Pickleball channel. You're not going to want to miss any bit of it.
No, you won't. And on that note, I'm Eddie.
And until next time, this is Webby, not Eddie, signing off.
See ya.